Leah Spear. If you could pick one religion to be true, which one would you choose and why? Okay, this is a tough question to answer because, well, it's not too tough, but it's a little tough. I think I might be feeling tough because I don't want to offend everybody out there. You know, there's a lot of people who watch this channel who have different belief systems and ideas, and I don't want to, you know, feel like I'm insulting you guys, but those belief systems are not for me. I don't buy into it. It doesn't make any logical sense to me. The idea of an Old Testament or a New Testament God or Jesus or these kind of things, it doesn't make any sense. I can't see a God that demands subservience and worship and then tricks Adam and Eve with the whole, you know, fruit of the forbidden knowledge and, you know, knowledge of good and evil, I should say. I don't buy into all that. I think that is a pretty sick and twisted story, and I understand the moral concepts underlying it and the framework, and there's a lot of different ways you could frame it and interpret it. And I find all that stuff fascinating from a philosophical point of view and from a psychological point of view and even sociology to some degree, anthropology. But religious, you know, that these things are true? Yeah, no way. And would I want them to be true? No, I wouldn't. I would not want to worship the God of the Bible. I wouldn't want to worship the God of the Book of Mormon. I wouldn't want to worship the God of Islam. I don't want to worship anybody. I don't think that is a fair thing for a creator to ask of his creation, that you shall worship me. I mean, what the hell? You know, were we all created by a narcissist? I mean, what is this? If you're going to imbue something with independent life and free will, then why would you make a slave out of it immediately and threaten it with torture and damnation for eternity if they don't follow your word, and yet somehow they're supposed to have free will? That does not make any sense to me. So, if I could choose any religion to be the truth, and I would, you know, this is how it is, all of those go by the boards. Because I don't want to subjugate human beings to some higher deity or something. And that brings me around to maybe Buddhism, but I don't really understand Buddhism. I'm not going to fake my way through some Western idea of what Buddhism is and say I know something about it. I also know Buddhism has been corrupted over the years in the same way Christianity has been, with the writings changing and the original teachings changing to the point where we don't even really know what the original teachings are. That's why I said earlier, if I had a time machine, I'd go back and find out what, you know, did Christ really live, and did he really say this stuff? What really went down? You know, I'd just from a historical point of view, I'd be absolutely fascinated to find out. Maybe the same thing with Buddha. You know, I'd go back, but of course I'd have to learn the language, or I'd have to do the same thing with Jesus, I guess. But, you know, I'd go back and see what was up with Buddha. You know, what did he really say? Because they worship him as a god now, and I know, you know, at least according to what L. Ron Hubbard said, and what I've read of Buddha in other places, you know, he was the last person who wanted to be worshipped. That's not what this whole thing was about. So anyway, so I'm not going to say Buddhism because I don't really understand Buddhism, and so I'm not going to say that would be the one true religion I would like to have be, you know, true. So I guess in the end, what it comes down to is if I had to choose one, I'm most familiar with Scientology. And if you take all the structure of the organization away from it, and you just look at the philosophy and the belief system and the idea of all of us being immortal spiritual beings who have lived nearly, you know, forever in the past and will live forever into the future, we don't die. We are able to be causative agents of our own lives and manipulate and influence the events that, you know, that make our lives what they are. We are not, you know, we don't have to bow down to fate or karma or something like that. That idea really appeals to me. It appeals to a lot of people. That's why they become Scientologists in the first place. Taking away the L. Ron Hubbard reverence and the David Miscavige bullshit, because David Miscavige has nothing to do with, you know, formulating the actual beliefs of Scientology. There's a lot there that appeals to me as a fairly independent person. So I guess I'd say that. But, you know, of course, there's so much baggage connected with Scientology that it's a little hard to say that in a pure way and be totally understood, you know what I mean? Because that doesn't mean that I want all the structure of Scientology. I don't want the knowledge reports. I don't want this, the organizing boards. I don't want the ethics officers. I don't want the Office of Special Affairs. I don't want any of that. So that's not the part of Scientology that I would want to be true or that I'd want to hold on to. I'm talking basically about the idea of a spiritual existence and the idea that we do continue to live and that we do continue to grow and learn, or at least we have the potential to. That idea appeals to me. So that's my answer to the question, and I hope it satisfies, and we'll see if I get any nasty grams in the comments, but that's my idea there.